Hi, I'm George from NBI Hockey,
And I'm Brody from BroalieTalksHockey.
and welcome back to Winning on Paper. This is our Atlantic Division offseason preview. Um, and quickly, I guess we can cover the Stanley Cup final, which just ended. First of all, congratulations to Vegas for absolutely dominating the Florida Panthers in 5 games. Outside of game one, like if you look at like the high danger chances, it was crazy in favor of Vegas. I can't remember exactly what it was. I posted it on my story like 2 days ago. I'll see if I can find it, but it was nuts how like uneven it was for Vegas.
Yeah,
2, 3, yeah. So the top five players in scoring chances in the series were all from Vegas, and then it was Kachuk, Barkov, Verhaeghe, and then Stevenson, Smith were the last 10. So 7 out of 10 were Vegas Golden Knights at 5-on-5.
oh wow. I'm
Yeah,
still kind of
so
down bad from Game 5 day. I was so mad. I was going to put 10 or $20 on Riley Smith to get the cup first to win
yeah,
3,400 bucks. And I was so mad. Like, I'm still mad about it. Like, I could have had 3,400 bucks. But,
that's tough.
live
Riley
and
Smith,
let
I
live.
can't believe we had that low odds too, because like it was going to be one of the
It was
misfeats, right?
going
Like
to
it
be
was.
one of the favorite, the heavy favorite was Marshall. So I think he was like plus 180. And that's
That's
still,
so
like, I still
weird.
would have taken that.
Yeah. Why
It
would
was
he be
either
the favorite
Carlson or
though?
Smith for me.
I guess he had a good playoffs. It's probably yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Carlson
Yeah.
and Smith would have been the two that I would have went to Riley Smith right away because he was like a cap dump from Florida, right? Like they gave up
Yeah.
Marchessault to get rid of Smith. Like it made like he was like the basically the only guy left on the team that was given up as a cap dump.
Yeah. He was really the only one who
So
nobody
because like
truly wanted.
Carlson, Marceau, and Theodore were all given up so Vegas would take somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was,
That's
yeah,
still
I can't
crazy to
believe
me.
it.
Like looking back, like if you were an NHL GM and you had a year notice
Nobody
that
did anything. Like
nobody
the
did
entire,
anything.
I was shocked. Nobody at the deadline did because there were teams that gave up really bad players who didn't trade anything. Like you could have used them as like what was stopping? And nobody did this year either. And it kind of surprised me with Seattle. Like there had to have been a rule saying that like you couldn't trade a guy to a team for like a week. Because like what was stopping? Like even in Seattle, right? Like in Vegas didn't do this either. Vegas didn't make any trades because they were exempt, right? So like why didn't like when Pittsburgh traded Jared McCann, for instance, right? Why didn't they just trade like a sixth round pick to Vegas to hold McCann for a week and then trade him back?
Yeah, that's getting into some tampering though. I could see how that wouldn't
I
work.
guess, but
Like
like
that's like you're clearly
I
doing
guess.
something.
Well, of course, yeah, but I mean, like, but even using Vegas as like a holder, right? Like not just for players like that, but just to dump players you're going to lose, right? Like why not? Because they can give you
Right.
more than like anybody else would. I don't know.
Right.
It's
And even
just
Vegas could send someone who's like expansion draft exempt in exchange for somebody who, which is honestly stupid that they were exempt.
yeah.
I will die on that hill.
Well,
And it was so
it's just
stupid.
it's because they didn't get into the expansion fee. That was a deal that the NHL. That was a deal that the other 30 teams signed when Vegas entered the league because they wanted the
Oh,
money.
okay. Yes.
This is the whole thing. I'm like I know I need to talk about. I'm going to make a post about cap circumvention and stuff because that whole argument irritates me. But one of the things like going through, I just did a post on Vegas's expansion draft, the trades and stuff like the day after they won the cup. Um, and that was one of the big things that like the owners wanted was that Vegas would be exempt from the expansion draft, but they didn't get any expansion fees. I think it was set for the next 8 years after they entered the league. If a 30-second team came in, I think that was the number. I could be wrong about that, but it was something like there was like a set timeline for that.
Oh, so if
Um,
there's another one,
then
are
yeah,
they
Vegas
exempt from
wouldn't
that one?
be. I don't think so now. I think it was only for
Oh,
the
okay.
30-second. Like
Yeah.
it was a very limiting, but because like everybody knew the NHL was probably going to expand to a 30-second team within the next 8 years, 8 to 10 years after Vegas came in.
Yeah. I
Um,
was really hoping it was Portland. This is random, but I was really hoping it was Portland.
that's fair. I mean, Portland would be fun. Like
Yeah.
they've had a AHL team for a while, haven't they? Or am I confusing them with somebody else?
Uh, they had a WHL team. I don't know if they have an
Yes, that's
AHL
right.
team.
Okay, okay, that's
The
right.
Winter
I was thinking of
Hawks.
Peoria. Peoria had like the Rivermen
Oh,
for forever, but they don't exist. I
yeah.
don't think they exist anymore.
Now they're EC, I think. They're ECHL now.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's kind of
But
weird how
yeah,
that works, but
the whole like a lot of people don't like there's so many weird expansion draft arguments getting thrown around right now, and they're annoying, all of them. But that's a whole nother we can do that as another podcast, because that's a whole 10 hours. And I made a post about it, so go check it out at NBI Hockey on Instagram. It's really good. I'm really proud of it. It's about all the trades that all the stupid teams made to protect players,
including your Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, who traded a 13th overall pick. I guess they got
which was Nick back. Suzuki.
Yeah,
Nick Suzuki. The one thing we've needed for the longest time is a second line center.
Well, hey,
and we traded him away.
You got an extra 2 years of Toby Edstrom, so.
Oh my goodness! But he's a beast, Toby Edstrom.
And you drafted Kristen Vesalainen with that pick, so like, hey.
Oh my.
It's not too bad. It's really funny how Vegas hit on every other pick except for their first overall pick, which was Cody Glass.
Yeah, and now he's kind of a stud in Nashville.
Because who else did they got? They got
Brandstrom,
Suzuki, and was Krebs that year? No, was it Krebs?
Was the year after. Krebs was the year after.
They had another pick. They had a third.
They had 4 or 3. Because they had the Jackets.
No, they traded the Jackets to Winnipeg.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, because they drafted. They drafted. Maybe they only had 3. Because the Islanders was Brandstrom, the Jets was Suzuki, and theirs was Glass. And
okay, 6 was Glass, 13 Suzuki, 15 Brandstrom, and then that was it.
13 and then 15,
and they had Nick Hague with their second round pick.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, because I knew they hit pretty well everywhere else except for Brandstrom's kind of, I don't know what's going on there, but at the time, like he was looked at as a really good product. I mean, so was Cody Glass. So. Shout out to Vegas for offering Nick Suzuki instead of Cody Glass though in the Pacioretty trade. So, because Mark Bergevin wanted Cody Glass. So I mean, hey.
Yeah.
There you go. You got one. Vegas got one back there after
Bergevin
trade. Yeah. I mean, the Tatar trade was brutal for them too. So that whole the whole Pacioretty deal was like just a bunch of mistakes that they kind of threw together into that one.
Yeah.
But how much you can do. Anyway, speaking of teams that should have won the cup but didn't, the Boston Bruins. Wow. Where to begin with the Boston Bruins? Obviously, the historic regular season, and then historic playoffs also.
Not in the good historic.
Yeah, historically bad playoffs. They have a lot of free agents coming up. They have 7 forwards under contract going to next year, and they have 3 defensemen signed beyond next season. They have 5 forwards, 5 forwards, and 3 defensemen signed beyond next season. Wow,
that's crazy, and just one goalie.
Yeah, Trent Frederick, Patrice Bergeron, Tyler Bertuzzi, Nick Foligno, Garnet Hathaway, David Krejci, Thomas Nosek are all the free agents. I think we can pretty well say, besides Patrice Bergeron, every single one of those UFAs will not be on the team next year, and Patrice Bergeron's iffy. I guess if Krejci doesn't retire, he'll come back too.
Yeah.
Right, like he's not going anywhere else. Bergeron's not going anywhere else. Bertuzzi's gone. Hathaway's gone. Foligno's probably gone.
Nosek I could see.
I can't believe the Foligno contract's over. It's like that was brutal when they signed it. But like, hey, I mean, good for them. Nosek, yeah, I mean maybe, but like that's a that play doesn't matter. Anyway, defensively they're actually not bad. I mean, Clifton and Orlov, neither of them are coming back anyway, but they still have 7 defensemen under contract for next season at the moment.
I expect them to deal one of them.
So that's not like they probably move on from somebody. I'm assuming
I think it'll be Carlo.
Riley. Okay, that works too.
Okay, here's
Grzelcyk and Riley are just like the easiest to move off of, right?
Yeah.
Like if they need to clear room like next season, which they do, because they have $6 million in cap space. To rebuild their bottom 6 and sign Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, man.
So that's what I mean. This was the year that they had to win, and then Sergei Bobrovsky happened. and they didn't.
Here's a proposal for you.
Okay. You
are Don Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Cheveldayoff calls you.
Yep.
I will give you Mark Scheifele
Mm-hmm.
for Brandon Carlo and Jeremy Swayman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make that move?
No, because Scheifele doesn't help me beyond next season. Because I probably can't I still can't. Like, I'd have the same cap issue next summer.
Yeah.
Like, Carlo helps, and moving Swayman kind of helps. But if Scheifele was under contract, then yes. Maybe I do that for, like, if you're going to bring up, I mean, obviously there'd be more piece involved, but, like, both Connor and Ehlers have term over this year, right? Not that
I
there's
think Ehlers
exclusivity
has
with
3 left. 3
Ehlers
at 6 mil.
Connor has 3. Ehlers has 3. Yeah. No, Ehlers has 2. So I probably wouldn't do it for Ehlers then. Even Connor at 3 doesn't really. Wow, the Jets have a lot of free agents. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. No, I wouldn't. Because yeah, like Scheifele helps next season, but I
And
still need
that's
to find a
really it.
second line center. That doesn't really solve that problem. And I have to re-sign Scheifele anyway, right? I'm in the same situation next summer.
You're just booting it down the road.
Yeah, you're just kind of kicking the can down the road with a worse team. Because
But
either way, they're going to be worse. Like,
you're
even with
kicking-
that deal, right?
Yeah, you're kicking the can down the road with a better free agents class.
Yeah, but I'm also eating $2 more million. It's like I have $2 million. Like, that would basically leave me with $4 million to rebuild the rest of my team. Because Scheifele's at what, 6?
Yeah, he's at 6.12. He's at the same
Yeah,
as Mark Dan.
Carlo's at 4.1. So that, like, I'm eating $2 million of cap space, and I'm not adding a roster. I'm actually losing a roster player.
Yeah.
And I have another place for Scheifele to go in this division. So
Ooh.
I'll hit you with a mock trade right away. That's chaotic, and I love it.
I feel like I know where this is going.
Well, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, then I definitely know where it's going.
Yeah, Boston's in trouble. I don't know what to do because first of all, we talked about him in the Metro thing, but like somebody has to offer sheet Jeremy Swayman, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to, because like Boston can't match. Like they cannot match that deal.
No.
Because if they did, like let's say somebody offers them at like the 6.3 or whatever it is for the max for first and the third, right? I think it's 6.25 or something, something like that, right?
That.
So the Bruins would have to trade Taylor Hall, which would be $6 million, right? That's the easiest way for them to clear that. They'd get assets back. It's the easiest way for them to clear that money. You match the Jeremy Swayman deal. Now you don't have a second line winger, and you still only have $6 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So even if you do match that offer sheet, like you're going to be significant. Like that's what I mean. Like I think, and we're going to talk about them soon because they need a goalie. And the only reason why I wouldn't do it for them is because they're going to be bad next year. But like the Canadians should absolutely offer sheet Jeremy Swayman. Montreal should be immediately, the second they're able to send in an offer sheet, you send it in, because you're either going to screw Boston over by taking their franchise goalie away for the next decade, or you screw them over by handcuffing them like crazy to the salary cap.
Yeah.
Like, you have to wait. Like, I would, even if that first is like, because like Jeremy Swayman and a healthy Canadians team, I think would actually kind of surprise people next season. I think they could be like decent. Not like, maybe not play, like not, especially not in the East, like the playoffs are going to be crazy, but like they wouldn't be a bottom 5 team in the league.
No, I don't think so.
As long as they're healthy, obviously. There's a lot of conditions there, but like a healthy Caulfield, a healthy Suzuki, whoever they add, depending on who it is, the draft might make the team. And Swayman, that defense gets better. Like, that would be fun. Like, and like Montreal needs a goalie. Like, it makes so. The only thing is like not giving up, but like the only problem is giving up that first round pick.
Yeah.
Because there's a very good chance that it is a top 5 or 6 pick next season.
And I think that's a pretty stacked draft next year.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, though, like the Canadians prospect pool, and again, we're kind of talking about Montreal right now too, but it's all in the same division. It doesn't matter. But like their prospect pool is already good enough that like even if that was like a top 5 or 6 pick, as much as I think it would help because like the Slavkovsky pick was so brutal, as long as they don't screw up this year, like they'd probably be fine anyway.
Yeah.
Like it would hurt, but like I still think, and it would still screw over Boston enough that like I don't think it would hurt that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with like a top 5 pick next year, the Bruins are still going to be terrible. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's not going to matter.
Yeah. And they're going to have their own pick next year.
Yeah, exactly. So like even if they're bad, right? Like it's not going to make that big of a difference, and they're not going to try to be bad. So it's like they have no incentive to try to be bad. They don't have a first, second, or third round pick next year.
Yeah.
So they have zero incentive to try to be bad, which is why I think the Bruins would do everything to match that deal anyway. So like it's just, I don't know. I'd trade Olmark. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Immediately trade Allmark after he wins the Vezina.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. There really isn't another option, though. Because you can't keep... Like, there's no way they run Swayman and Olmark next season. I cannot see that being a reality. They're going to have to find somebody else. One of those goalies is gone. If they can make that work, I mean, like, Don Sweeney should win GM of the Year. If they can go into next season with a confident lineup and Swayman and Olmark, like, just hand them GM of the Year already. Because that's, like, a master class of an offseason.
Right, yeah.
If we look at the Bruins next year as, like, a legitimate playoff team, in 2 weeks, if we agree that the Bruins are a legitimate playoff team, Don Sweeney should immediately get GM of the Year. Not like a fringe, like, could be a wildcard team, but, like, they could be, like, a top 3 team in the Atlantic.
Right.
It'd be insane. It's crazy. And I was high on the Bruins this year. I don't see it unless something crazy happens. Unless they're able to move like Lindholm or Carlo and just clear a ton of caps. But even Lindholm's contract isn't terrible right now, but it probably will be. Free agent target. I don't know. Somebody cheap.
Cheap.
Anybody who's willing to sign for the league minimum to play in your bottom 6.
Yeah.
And they don't have a first or second round pick, so who cares about the draft? Okay. Boston. Predictions on where you think they'll finish. Give me a range.
Oh, man. It honestly, they're like the Winnipeg Jets of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Like, I could see them finishing 3rd to 6th.
Yeah. 3rd to 7 for me. I think they could be bad. I think there's a reality where they could be really bad. Honestly, do you see, like, I'm looking at the Atlantic right now. Do you see a world where the Buffalo Sabres are better than them next year?
Yeah.
Do you see a world where Detroit's better than them next year?
Yeah.
Florida?
Maybe. I don't think so.
Montreal.
But maybe.
Montreal.
No. Okay. I don't think so.
Ottawa?
Depends what happens with the Brinket.
Okay. Tampa?
No. There's no way that I mean, yes, there's no way that they're worse than Boston.
And Toronto?
I don't think Toronto's. You never know. But I don't think Toronto's
Detroit and Montreal are the only, like... Well, Montreal is the only solid no for you there.
Yeah. I think... But, like, so then again...
3 to 7.
If Montreal... yeah. 3 to 7.
If Montreal finds a goalie... Like, and they're healthy. Because Montreal is, like... They were, the 5th worst team in the league with, like, a pretty well AHL roster for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Like, the Canadians, over the last 2 years, I think they lead the league in man games lost. Which isn't nothing, right? Like, the team's not good, even, like, with everybody. But, like... If the Bruins are running... If the Bruins are running Thomas Nosek as their second-line center next season... like... they're not going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I could see... I don't think... And I don't think this is going to happen. I don't want to, like, quote this as, like, a prediction. But, like, if we do a podcast like this in a year from now, and we're talking about the Atlantic, and the Boston Bruins finished 8th, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like, it wouldn't shock me. I was more shocked they won the division this year than I would be them finishing 8th next year. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I
I don't
think
think
I'd
it
be a
happens.
little
I think they
surprised, but
probably end up 5 or 6 if I had to like
yeah,
give you a number right now. But like
yeah,
I can see a world where they are the worst team in this division next season.
yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like that's insane. They just had the greatest regular season of all time. All right. So that's the Boston Bruins. That was fun. Buffalo. What a fun team Buffalo is. They have so much cap space. God.
Yes, they
They have
do. I
$14
think they
million
have a
of
lot
cap
of
space.
people to sign though.
Not really. No, they don't. They have nobody to sign.
Oh
They
yeah,
have a couple guys next year.
they have a lot of people next year.
Yeah.
Their whole decor,
Middlestad,
actually.
Gergensons, Oposo, Krebs. Krebs is kind of the only one there that jumps off the page. Olafson, I guess, but like I can see a world where they just move off Olafson. Tyson Jost, who I completely forgot was a Buffalo Sabre, is a
Yeah,
RFA.
he's not getting
Vinny
re-signed, I
Hinostroza.
don't think.
No, Vinny Hinostroza. He's a guy.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, their whole
body.
blue line next year needs to be. I mean, I'm assuming the Darlene deal will get done this summer.
And I think Power,
Um,
too.
yeah, Yoki Haru is just kind of a guy. Bryson's good. They could lock him up. Power probably gets done. Kale Clegg's gonna be gone. They need a goalie. I guess Levi's there and Uka, but I don't know if you want to run into the season with those two.
I
I
don't
guess
think
Eric
so.
Comrie too, but
Levi Comrie could be fine, but you're not really trying to contend this year anyway.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Because you
exactly.
still
You're just
got.
kind of like Buffalo's kind of in that world where like if they make the playoffs next year, they're happy about it.
Yeah.
They're kind of like what LA was, not last season, but like 2 years ago when they made the play. I guess it was, yeah. Like when they made
Yeah.
it again, they lost to Edmonton. It's the same kind of thing. It's like they'd be happy to get in. I just think the East is like, especially the Metro, is just loaded. So,
Yeah.
but for Buffalo, what do you think is ideal free agent target? I have a fun one, but I'll let you go
Um,
first.
for someone to go after, like, they don't really need a goalie.
No,
Not in
just
free
play them. Play the
agency.
kids. Maybe like a
Yeah.
veteran defenseman.
Yeah, um, I think Rodriguez would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, bring him back.
Was he in Buffalo?
Evan Rodriguez, I believe, was a Buffalo Sabre.
Yeah,
So they
his
drafted
first
him.
contract.
Don't ask me how I know that, but who he was in the oh shit, who was he traded for? To Pittsburgh. Uh Damn it.
He was
I know it
traded.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
been in
believe
2 trades.
I know who
Yeah,
it is.
you
Like, I
you
can picture the player. I
he's German. If that gives you a better hint.
it was the Connor Sherry trade, but it wasn't for Sherry, it was for Kuhn. I just looked that. But yeah, it was Connor Sherry. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, he was traded with Connor Sherry.
Yeah,
I would
and he
not
was
Kuhn.
traded.
Connor Sherry is the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
had the
imagine
weird
if
recapping deal.
Toronto just would have kept Rodriguez and Amirov and just gave up Kapanen. Like that's like a solid trade actually.
Yeah.
If they did it,
I forgot he was on the Leafs.
I don't think he played many games on the Leafs.
He didn't play any.
Yeah,
That's why I don't remember him with the Leafs. He played 0 games with the Leafs. He
he
played a
got
lot in
to he
Buffalo.
got to Toronto. And they're like, yeah, let's get this guy out of here.
He played 5 years in Buffalo. That's the most out of any team. 3 in Pittsburgh and then 1 in Colorado. Shut up. So what happened? Like, why didn't he play with the Leafs?
He was traded. It looks like.
His rights. Yeah, his rights were traded.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense because the
Yeah, he was
trade
traded
looks really
August.
weird otherwise.
Yeah, he was traded August 25th, and then October 9th he signed with Pittsburgh. Wait, what?
He signed with Pittsburgh October 9th, and then he was traded.
No,
And
he was
then
traded August 25th,
yeah,
and then he signed with Pittsburgh again.
what?
Yeah, look at this. 2020, like I'm on this Hockey TV right now. This is the Evan Rodriguez section of the podcast. August 25th, 2020, traded from Pittsburgh. with everything else to the Leafs for Kasperi Kapanen and everything else. And then 2020, October 9th, he signs with Pittsburgh.
He must have had a PTO.
No, because he played with Pittsburgh in 2020, 2021, and 21-22. And he played 7 games in 1920.
Yeah, that's weird.
So it's like they traded his rights, and that there had to been something. Why can't I remember? Like, I remember hearing about this now. Now that I'm like looking this up, like I remember this moment in time because I made fun of like all the Leafs fans for it because it's hilarious. I don't understand. Because yeah, signing in October is weird too, right? Like,
Yeah, like that's right
they
before
must
the
have given him
season.
a PTO or something. But like, it's weird they would trade him as like in August. Like he would have been a free agent. No, unless the Leafs cut him,
I think they might have cut him.
they must have just bought him out. That's so strange. This is very strange. What's his When did his contract? I don't know where Evan Rodriguez is. Look up his contract on Cap Friendly and see when he signed.
With Pittsburgh.
We'll see what his deal. Yeah, we'll see what his deal was in August of 2020. Like going into that.
October 9th, he signed a 1 year, $700K, and then he
What was
signed in July for
his deal
another
before
1
that?
year.
Like the deal with Pittsburgh before that.
Oh, like his deal with Boston or Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah.
That was he had arbitration and he got 1 year, 2 mil.
And that was in
No.
2019.
Yeah, July 25th, 2019.
So he must have been an RFA then.
Yeah, if he had arbitration, he would have been.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So he hadn't signed his. Okay. Yeah, so he hadn't signed his RFA thing, and then the Leafs just declined it, basically.
He was traded to Pittsburgh, and then like I'm looking at his transaction, and then there's nothing, and then it just says he signed a standard contract. Okay. It's like he didn't get cut or anything.
So strange. Okay, well, I don't know. That's weird. Because I don't know. Okay, anyway. Evan Rodriguez. My fun Buffalo Sabres for you to pick up is Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
He's like, why not? Fun. Like, he's from Buffalo. It makes sense. He's not going to sign a crazy deal. They have a ton of cap space anyway, so even if he signs for like 3 years at like $7 million, like who cares? It'll be fun. He can play with the kids. Like he helps. Like they'll love playing around him.
Yeah,
Tage Thompson, Patrick Kane would be great. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like that'd be. Oh, that power play would be disgusting. I mean, Patrick Kane kind of sucks, but like the power play would be great. And he'd be good. He'd be good for the room. Like he'd be a fun player he'd sell tickets in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Why not? 3-year deal. No more than that. That's the most I'll do. For Buffalo, not for like any team, but any team. Most teams it would be like a 1-year deal, but for Buffalo, I'll give you 3 years. You can come here. You can be an assistant captain or something. It's your hometown. Why not? You can get them out of the dark ages because then they'll make the playoffs in 2 years, and everybody will be like, "Oh my god, Patrick Kane made the playoffs. It'd be great." Let's do it. There you go. Anyway, did they have a pick? They do have a pick. Who do you think they should draft?
They with their pick, I think they pick what is it, 12th, 13th,
something like that.
I think Colby Barlow would fit well in Buffalo.
I like that. I think Simashev's fun. Not that he's another defenseman, but I think that's fun.
Yeah. Would be fun.
I mean, Dvorsky won't be there, but I mean, if they can get him at like 12, 13, it's a safe pick. It's a good second liner.
Yeah. At this point, I can see Buffalo just... Yeah.
Nate Danielson's like the kind of guy I could see Buffalo taking a risk on.
Yeah. Andrew Crystal would be a lot of fun in Buffalo.
Oliver Moore might be available too, so that's another
yes, that is a must take.
I want Buffalo to take a risk. I just take a flyer on somebody. You have the ability to. I mean, everybody should do that, but that's the whole other thing. Anyway,
take
Buffalo,
Melinda, get 13.
Yes. Prediction for Buffalo range.
4th to 7th.
Sounds good. All right, the Detroit Red Wings, who had such a weird offseason last summer.
It was
So
weird.
strange.
The
So
summer of
strange.
Stevie.
But they have $30 million in cap space. So, what do they got for UFAs? Matt Luff, Joe Veleno, Ernie, Chason, Suter, don't care, Gustav Lindstrom, Robert Hagg, Jordan Osterley, and Marcus Hallberg. So, I mean, free agent. They have a
Nothing.
ton of money again.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some guys coming up, like the year after. Like Lucas Raymond's deal is going to be crazy. Mort Sider's contract is going to be crazy. But let's say you allocate $15 million to those guys, you still got $10 million ish to play around with this summer.
Yeah.
Of like free money that you can spend on like a long term deal. I think there's potential here for Steve Yzerman to do something fun.
Yeah. You want to know who my ideal target is for them?
What do you got? Jacob Vrana.
Well, they're actually paying him right now.
I know, that's true. Tyler Bertuzzi.
Alex DeBrincat.
Okay.
That would be so much darn fun
I like it.
in Detroit.
I like it. I do like it. This is another team I could see going after Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Steve Yzerman's going to think their first next year is going to be very good.
No.
They also have 2 seconds, so if they wanted to trade for him, they have potential there. They have the Islanders pick in 3 seconds this year, so like there's potential they could just make it. They could broker a deal. And Steve Yzerman just has to sign a young RFA goalie every summer. That's just a requirement. It has to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the world. That's the rule. Because that's what they do. What happened to what's his face? The goalie they signed 2 years. Not
Ned?
Yeah.
Nedeljkovic?
Yeah, why isn't he on their roster?
He's a free agent. I'm pretty sure, at least.
He used to be listed on their cap right now.
He's in it. He's in the non-roster.
Yeah, he's in the NHL. That's right.
Yeah, he got sent down.
Hey, shut up. Well, there you go. You have to replace Nedeljkovic.
And they have Kosa coming up soon, who was somehow taken before Wallstead. Weird.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean,
hey, at least you're not as down bad as the Oilers, who traded back one spot when you really needed a goalie to take Bourgault a pick after instead of Wallstead. So Billy G masterclass right there, but not a big deal.
I do like the Brinkhead though. I think that's fun.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun.
The Brinkhead's fun. I think this is a team I could see taking a flyer on Klingberg for 1 year.
Yeah,
mostly just to play him on their second line power play and like super sheltered minutes, and then flip him at the deadline. It just kind of feels like the place that he'd go. Him or they were Arizona. I could see Arizona picking up Klingberg too, or Chicago, one of those bad teams, and just letting him play and then trading him at the deadline. Kind of like what Anaheim did, but like actually do it properly. Yeah.
Right.
Detroit playoffs, not playoffs. 4-7.
I could see it, but if they get to Brinkett it there, yes, for me.
Probably. 4-7 feels right.
Yeah, like they could be a wild card team.
Yeah. All right, the defending Eastern Conference champion totally deserved to be there. Florida Panthers.
Yeah, the model for everybody to follow, apparently.
Yep. No first round picks in the next 3 seasons for them.
Wait, what?
No second next year. Yep. Shout out.
Whoa.
It looks
I
like
do not remember this.
It looks like the other 2 are there's some kind of protection on them.
Oh yeah, it's one of 2025 or 2026.
No, it's 2 different trades.
Oh yeah.
The
Ben Sherratt trade.
if the 2024 first is conditional if it's a top 10 pick, then Florida gets their 2025, and then the Ben Sherratt trade has like 50 conditions on it that I'm not going to read.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility, there's a world where they end up with neither of those picks, I believe.
Yeah.
But they can't trade any of them anyway, so regardless, they're dead assets at the moment. Yeah, Florida has $14 million, or they have $10 million in cap space. They have Smith, White, and Eric Stahl as forwards. Lucas Carlson, Radko Gudas. Radko Gudas is going to be an expensive contract. And Alex Lyon, who they might actually think about re-signing, maybe. That'll be kind of an interesting one.
I'd give a flyer on Lyon as a 1B or like a backup.
Yeah, but I mean, like
If
they
I'm any
have
team.
like Knight and like I don't know if Florida's going to be that team to do it.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but I'm just talking.
I think
Like,
he's going to be too expensive to bring in as like a third, right?
yeah,
Unless they trade
because
Bobrovsky
Spencer,
this summer.
right, or Spencer Knight. I don't know if he can just retire, but
Ooh,
because he's in the player assistance program.
here's a fun one for you.
Yeah.
Starting July 1st, 2024, Bobrovsky's no move clause switches to a 16-team no trade clause.
Ooh.
So not this summer, but the cap going up. If Bobrovsky has a decent season next season,
As a
there is a
35-year-old.
world. There is a world where somebody wants to take. Yeah, but you eat $4 or $5 million of that 10.6. I could see a team taking a flyer on the last 2 years of Bobrovsky for like $6 million if he has a good season next season.
Yeah, I would actually do that if he has a good
I
season
could
this
see a
year.
world where that happens. That's fun. And I mean, you got Spencer Knight locked up for 4.5 for the next 3 years, so that's good. I don't really know what the Panthers should do. Like, they're just kind of like they shouldn't go out and spend a bunch of money because they have a ton of guys. Like their whole defense, they have to re-sign after next season.
Yeah.
They need to fix the blue line though. Like the blue line this year wasn't good.
No.
I think offensively they're fine. Like I don't think there's anything they need to kind of just fill depth and then hope they can get everybody re-signed next summer. Next summer is gonna be crazy in Florida. Florida's gonna be like in a Boston-esque situation next summer. Not as bad, but like it's going to be rough. It's not going to be as bad because everybody's a free agent, so they have like nobody anchoring them. They have like no anchor contracts.
Right.
Except for Borowski, but they can trade him.
Yeah.
So I think that there's some interesting. Like this team might look completely different next season, the start of next season, just because of how much they have to do next summer at the moment.
Right.
I don't know. Got any targets for this team? I don't really. I'm just thinking depth.
I'm just thinking a depth, cheap defenseman. Like if you can get Carson Soucy cheap, that would be my ideal
I like that.
pick for them.
I wonder how willing Montreal would be to give up Matheson.
He would fit well actually in Florida.
Because I like that fit. And he used to play for Florida, so that's cute. I don't mind that. I don't know if Montreal like how willing they are to move off of him because he had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting fit. I think. Speaking of the Canadians, like I'm just on that team right now. What's his face? The center.
Monahan.
From Arizona.
Dvorak.
I think would be kind of fun here. As like a third line center.
They don't really need a third line center though, because they got Lundell.
That's right. Who do they have running? Barkov, yeah. Barkov and Bennett. Okay. Never mind.
Barkov,
Scratch that.
Bennett, Lundell. They need a fourth line center because Stahl's going to be gone. But
Yeah.
anybody could do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, anybody can be Egerstall. At this point in his career. Yeah, like offensively they're fine. I like Matheson. I think that's a fun one. I like the Carson. Honestly, Susie and Matheson would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
I think that kind of fixes like the depth problem on this
Right,
team,
it's
and
just
just
that left side because that right side is actually
Yeah.
sick.
Well, as long as Aaron Ekblad's like not the way he was this year.
Yeah.
As long as he's good. For me, for Florida, they don't have a pick, so it doesn't matter. Range, let's go. Man, I could see this team being bad next season too. I could see them being really bad next season. I'm gonna go like 3-7.
Yeah, I had 3-6.
Yeah, I think there's a world where this they make the playoffs, and there's a world where they are not good.
Yeah.
Oof. All right. Montreal Canadiens, the team that is trying to trade up to number 2 overall. Apparently, did you see the offer, the proposed like potential deal that they gave up?
I did not. What was it, like Suzuki in the fifth?
No. It was the 5th, the 31, the Calgary pick, and Kirby Dach for 2nd overall.
That's a lot.
That's an interesting offer, though.
Yeah, because Fantilli's pretty much like I think Fantilli will be better than Suzuki.
That's a good, like that's an interesting offer, because like Fantilli's gonna be better than Kirby Dach, right? Like so that's a wash. Whoever you get at 5th isn't going to be as good as Fantilli unless it's Michkov, and even then, I think it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
And then the Calgary pick next year, who knows what that's going to be. And 31st is whatever, a 2nd round pick. I don't think that's a crazy I don't think it's a crazy offer for Montreal. I don't think it's a crazy overpay. And I don't think it's a bad deal for the Ducks either. Because the Ducks can get Michkov most likely at 5, and they have the pay.
Right.
Like they can afford to wait for Michkov. Them and San Jose are like the 2 teams in the top like 5. Well, I think Montreal can too, but they don't seem to want to.
And if San Jose takes Michkov, you still get Will Smith if you're
exactly. You get Will Smith and Will Smith coming out of the draft with Will Smith and Kirby Dach. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Calgary pick and the 31st overall. Like I think that's a good that's fine.
Yeah, that's a solid.
Which I saw somebody I saw somebody comment on it. It was really funny because he was like, "So you're giving up the 5th overall pick, eating Sean Monahan's contract, Alexander Romanov and Ben Sherratt for the 2nd overall pick."
Yeah.
Which was really funny. Because that's what it is. Which also is kind of like, which is another reason why it makes sense for Montreal, right? Because like they're basically playing with house money outside of the 5th overall.
Yeah, like it's not like they were all your picks anyway.
Yeah, aside from maybe Romanov, like aside from Dach, who like Romanov they could have kept, but like Sherratt was going to be gone, and you got the 1st round pick from Calgary for free. So like it's not like you're really not moving off a ton of like your own assets. It's not like they're moving like Suzuki and Caulfield and something. I like it. It's fun. Like I think that would be
a lot of fun.
Awesome. Like as much as I've like not liked a lot of the things Ken Hughes has done as GM, like he is willing to take risks, and it's fun, and I love it. And he's done that like every year. Like even taking Slafkovsky, right? Like that wasn't like the consensus pick. It was a risk. It's a bad risk. He shouldn't have done it, but you know what? I like ballsy GMs. It's fun. Yeah, I mean the Canadiens have a ton of ton of ammo still. They have a ton of prospects. They really don't have a lot of guys to re-sign. Now that they got Caulfield done, great contract by the way. That Cole Caulfield contract rocks. Um, it's not on here yet, eh?
He's on the injured reserve.
Injured reserve. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. 7.85. That's
Yeah,
gonna be great. That's gonna be a good contract,
they're
especially
still
because you
paying
have
Kyle
like
Alsner money.
7.85 for Suzuki too. Is like the same contract. I didn't realize that. Yeah, Carl Osner. That's hilarious. And the thing is too, right? Like if the Canadians do that, like let's say they do that trade, you could probably trade Josh Anderson for like a mid first round pick.
Yeah, and
You could probably move
Monahan at
Joel
the
Edmondson for
deadline
a
for
mid first round
half.
pick.
You could get a first, I think, if he has a good season. If he stays healthy, you could probably get a first for him at the deadline at half.
Even if it's not a first, even if you get like a second or a third, right? Like I
Right.
think there's like it's still free, but like it's free, right? Like you
Yeah.
can move Anderson for a first for sure, and Joel Edmondson probably gets you a first. So like if
Right.
you trade up, like that can't be the only thing that Kent Hughes wants. Like I think if somehow they pull that off, now if it's not for number 2, I probably don't do that deal. I don't think there's enough upside in trading up to 3 or 4, especially 4. But I don't think there's enough upside in the draft to trade up from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
Like you do it for Fantilli and then you take Smith or Mitchkov at 5
Yeah.
or Benson. I'm
Or
fine with
Benson,
Benson.
even. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, Mitchkov's probably better than Benson, but, like,
Oh
Benson's
yeah.
not something to cry about if you take
No.
Benson over Mitchkov.
Benson's the safe. Like he's the safer pick.
If they take Ryan
Right?
Leonard over Mitchkov, that might be a little bit of a problem. But
They take Dvorsky over Mitchkov or Weinbacher over Mitchkov.
Oh,
I'm
Reinbacher.
gonna
Well,
jump
Reinbacher's
over.
going before Mitchkov, I think.
I'm gonna jump over the stanchion and choke Cantillos out. That is a threat, Nashville. Mark me down. Uh, I hope we're sitting by their table. That'd be fun. I can scream at them. Uh, yeah, there's a lot here. Potential. I mean, they seem to want a goalie. That's another thing too. Like Carter Hart's been rumored, which I like. I like the fit there. I mean, I'm gonna die on this Jeremy Swayman hill because I think it's fun. Carter Hart would be fun too. I think giving Carter Hart an opportunity to kind of like he'd be able to play a bunch of games. It probably means they move Jake Allen out, or they try to
Right.
at least, even though they just signed him to that ridiculous $3.85 million contract.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think getting yourself a goalie, it could be a project goalie like that. Take a flyer on it, and just kind of stay the course. Play the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, and trade Arbor Jacki for a first round pick because somebody will do it. That's it. That's the offseason. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Throw an Arbor Jacki instead of Kirby Doc for the second overall. I'm sure they do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Montreal range. I'm gonna go 5 to 8. I don't think they're good enough to push for a playoff spot, but I think they could surprise people. I think ending fifth in the division would be like a surprise good season for them.
Yeah, I think 6 to 8. I could see them doing fifth, but I'm just gonna go 6 to 8.
That's fair. I just need another team outside of Boston to be an 8th. So
Yeah.
all right, Ottawa. New ownership in Ottawa. That's not Ryan Reynolds, so I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so disappointing. Like, again, just the whole thing. But like Ryan Reynolds would have been so good for them. I just finished watching the Welcome to Wrexham documentary. By the way, it's on Disney Plus. Highly recommend it. Yeah, it would have been great to see that for the Senators, but here we are. I get it. I understand the politics. Like, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happened. I've read up on it because I was actually interested in it. I get it, but it sucks.
Yeah.
They don't have any picks. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, no first, second, or third this year. No third next year. There's really not a lot for this team. I mean, they're gonna get something back for DeBrincat. I don't think he re-signs.
No,
It
I don't
doesn't
think
sound like
so.
that's gonna happen. Gambrell, Gauthier, and Pinto also are free RFAs. Derek Brassard, who I thought was out of the NHL like 6 years ago, as a free agent.
Yeah.
Patrick Brown, Austin Watson, who they can just none of those guys matter. Eric Branstrom. Speaking of Vegas, Eric Branstrom's an RFA. That's an interesting.
St. Malo, Manitoba native Travis Hamonic is an RFA or UFA.
There you go. I have his rookie card, so I hope he does well.
Mm.
It's signed actually too, and Nick Holden. Cam Talbot. This team needs a goalie.
Yeah, they
They're an
actually have
interesting
0
landing
under
spot for
contract.
Connor Hellebuck. They're not the team I have getting for Connor Hellebuck, but I think an Alex DeBrincat for Connor Hellebuck trade is interesting. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
And Alex DeBrincat's the exact age of player the Jets should be targeting, so that's great. I don't know if they do it. I don't know if that would be enough for either team, actually. I don't know if a Connor Hellebuck for Alex DeBrincat trade straight up works for either team.
Yeah, I feel like.
Because I think both would want more.
Yeah.
I feel like both teams would feel like they're coming out of that as losers. So I don't know if that works logistically. But I think like it makes sense for both teams' rosters. Besides the fact the Jets need a center. But it's an interesting. I think there's better goalies for this. There's goalies who fit Ottawa better out there. But they also don't have any picks, so it kind of like complicates things in that aspect.
Right.
I think Uka's an interesting name if they wanted to go after somebody young. Obviously not as a starter, but if Buffalo isn't sold on him, it doesn't seem like they are. He could be an interesting project player. I think Carter Hart's interesting.
Not trading away Philip Gustafson.
Yeah, hey. Tristan Jarry is a guy I could see going here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because he's a UFA. I think it makes sense that they hit the UFA market, and there's not a lot. So Tristan Jarry is like the best free agent goalie, right? Like there's nobody else.
There's nobody else really, unless you think Mackenzie Blackwood's something.
Yeah. Which again, like I could see them maybe taking a flyer on both of them, like kind of what we said about the Jets, right? Like I could see a Blackwood Jarry pairing in Ottawa too, but I think the Senators are in a position where they kind of don't want to risk a flyer on both their goalies. Like they'd rather get somebody. I could see them going after like Alex Lyon if they went Jarry.
Jarry Lyon would actually be a sneaky good tandem.
I think that's fun. Like the blue line will be good enough. I don't like it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have any picks, so who cares?
Right.
Is there anybody else you think they should look at?
First
of all, where do you think DeBrincat goes? Give me a team.
Detroit. I think he goes. I think he's from Detroit. I think he's going to Detroit. Like that's actually my prediction.
I don't know if they want to trade him in division. That's the thing. You know what? This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm locking in. I said they were going to do something crazy at the draft. I think he goes to Nashville.
For who?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. But like they're going to do something fun. They're going to do something. Ooh. I like that.
I think UC Saros 1-for-1. I think both teams are happy with that.
I think Ottawa might have to go up something else than that, and I think they'd be okay with it because I think Saros is a better investment than Hellebuck at this point.
Yeah, Saros has untapped potential. I think Hellebuck's pretty much maxed out.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I feel like Nashville's going to do something crazy at the draft.
They have to. Barry Trotz's first.
And it's in Nashville. It's just like something I feel like DeBrincat's so much fun. And it kind of like it jumpstarts that youth, like the next wave of players. But then you really have to believe Askarov's ready. That's the one thing. Like you're really banking on Askarov being the guy. Like next season. But again, they could also go after somebody like Tristan Jarry, right? Like they could kind of bring in like a stopgap guy.
They just need a stopgap.
Yeah. Ooh,
you all know what would be a lot of fun for a stopgap?
Who?
Fleury in Nashville would be so much fun.
What about Demko in Nashville?
That would be interesting. I feel like you're giving up too much for a stopgap, though. You kind of just want a free agent guy.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, I think DeBrincat's going to be interesting. I hope he gets moved at the draft because I will be there and it's going to be fun. I want that to happen. Yeah, range Ottawa. You were high on them last year. I was accurate on them. You were high on the Ottawa Senators.
I was high on them. Well, then I'll be.
Yeah, you had them ahead of the Boston Bruins in the standings. I want to point that out.
I'll be high on them again. I'm going 3rd to 5th.
I'm gonna go 3 to 6. I like them sneak into the playoffs, depending on what they can get in net. There's a lot of question marks here, but I think there's a lot of potential for them to push or play. And I mean, Jacob Chikrin rocks, so there's that. He's so good. Jacob Chikrin's so good. Like, he's insane. Like, same with Thomas Chabot. I love both of them. They're just awesome. Tampa Bay. Man, Tampa Bay is also an interesting. They have $450,000 in cap space, ladies and gentlemen. And people are trying to tell me they're going to sign Tanner Jeannot. Okay? Stop it.
What a joke.
Stop it. It was a terrible trade. I had some guy literally telling me after the season ended that the trade was still fine because they're going to re-sign. No, they're not. They have $450,000 in cap space.
Well, they actually have 7 if you include our LTIR.
Well, it's the projected is $450,000. That's what I'm looking at. Regardless, like, Tanner Jeannot stinks. Let him go. And it's dead. Kill it. Brian Elliott probably resigns because he'll just retire there. Ian Cole's probably gone, right?
Yeah, he could be a sneaky pickup for somebody.
Ian Cole's interesting. Yeah. Velmar's probably gone. Killorn's definitely gone. Actually, no. Apparently they want to sign Killorn to like a ridiculous contract. Like, I don't know if you saw it, but it was like a 6. They were offering him like a 5 or 6 year deal.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Julian Breezeball has like lost his mind the last year and a half. It's kind of sad, actually. Oh my god, they have I'm just looking at their draft. They have a 6th and 2 7ths this year.
Yeah, they traded that whole draft class away.
They have a 6th and 2 7ths.
Like, they're doing
really
nothing
funny
on draft day.
No, they're gonna have. People are gonna forget they're there. They're gonna show up at the end of day 2, like the last half an hour of day 2, make 3 picks and go home.
Like, do they even have to show up for day 1?
Well, I think they have to be, like, they're required to be there.
Right.
But like, they're just gonna be boozing. It's gonna be great. Maybe I'll buy Julian a beer. Let's send him down a beer. There you go. Take a picture with the fans and stuff. That's so funny. Oh god. Yeah, because they can't even like trade out. Like, they have nothing to move.
No, they have no prospects either.
Oh my god. I mean, I guess they could trade Jeannot's rights.
Yeah, for a whole nother draft class.
And Ross Colton.
Ross Colton's sick. I hope they can keep him.
Yeah, he's good. I like him. They're gonna sign him to They're gonna sign him to like the Nick Paul deal, and it's gonna be hilarious. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do in 10. I have no idea I literally have nobody for the Lightning to go after. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know any 6th or 7th round guys. So.
Well, no, it's just even for like trade targets. Like, I have nothing.
Yeah, like, they're really just sitting pretty, doing nothing.
This is their team next year. Like, this is it. This is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, like,
unless like Nikita Kucherov like trips and twists his ankle.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. That's their only hope.
That's really
Somebody's got to take one for someone's got to take one for the team here. That's it. Or Brand Point could go out too, 9.5 mil. That's cool. Yeah. Yikes. All right, Range. What do you think?
I'm thinking I think they somehow Vasilevsky puts them to 3rd, or they finish 5th. I don't think they.
So who do you have finishing 2nd in this division?
2nd?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Because I don't think you've had anybody at 2.
No, okay, then Ottawa's finishing 2nd. There.
Oh, okay.
Bold take.
I'm going to go like a soft 2 to like... soft 2. I'm tired. I'm gonna go like 2 to like 4 for
2
Tampa
to
Bay.
4. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be bad enough to like not be battling for a playoff spot. Would not be shocked if they miss though. Like just miss.
Yeah.
I come with 8 teams better than them in the East. Finally, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Brad Treliving, big move. Brad is the new GM. They have one player locked up after the next 3 seasons.
And they're gonna buy out
Is this
TJ Brody. So
the
there's that.
year they trade one of the core 4?
Yeah.
Which one?
Nylander.
That's the boring one.
I know it's the boring one,
I
but
want
it's
you to
like the
throw
for sure
Matthews
one to
at me.
happen.
Throw Matthews.
No,
at
they're
me.
not trading Matthews.
I know. He's gonna leave next.
They
time.
can't trade Tavares. Maybe they trade Marner, but I doubt it.
All right, here we go. Is this the beginning? Here's my proposal for Mr. Kevin Shoveldale. I would like Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck. We can figure out every other piece involved in this later. I'm going to give you Mitch Marner. That was my big piece coming back. You can have whatever prospect you want as well. But I want Scheifele and Hellebuyck. I want them on. I want to get their deals locked up. And then I find my second line center and my goalie for the next 3 years while I'm trying to win a Stanley Cup. And you get yourself a franchise, legitimate, like top 15 player in the NHL, who I will also make sure is locked up to a deal longer than like 2 years. I guess he can't, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure out a way for him to make sure he re-signs and doesn't leave in free agency. I want Scheifele and Hellebuyck.
That's interesting.
I think it makes so much sense for both teams. It's like it really does. I mean, it doesn't help the Jets' center problem, but that's like something they can figure out somewhere else.
They can figure it out in the draft. Like, there's no.
Or you can have you can have Alex Kerfoot too.
No.
Okay.
That guy's not coming. That guy's not stepping foot in Winnipeg. Screw that guy.
Fair enough.
Tell him we don't have an airport. He can't come.
Is he a free agent anyway?
Yeah, he is. But I will take Zach Aston Reese though for the memes.
Sure. But like, I think like there's something there, right? Like there's something to that deal.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, would you? How difficult would it be to sell you on the last year of Matt Murray?
The last year of what?
Matt Murray.
I don't think it'd be too hard if you're giving him Marner.
I know. Because they'd have to. They'd have to get that salary out. Not for next. Well, no, not for next year. I think they'd be okay. Right? Because they have how much room do they have right now? They have 9.13. So they'd be taking on 12. Yeah, they'd be fine. Man, the caps work out too. That's just I mean, their bottom 6 would be in shit. Like they'd have to figure out something for the bottom 6. But like Scheifele solves their center problem because they cannot go into next season with John Tavares as their second line center. Like he needs to play on the wing. And Connor Hellebuyck will be a top like 5 goalie for them over the next 2 years, and that's all that matters. Like if the Leafs don't win a cup over the next 2 years, nothing matters. It's done.
Yeah.
Like it's dead. Plus, getting Scheifele and Hellebuyck, making a big move like that might be enough to sell Matthews on re-signing. At least short term. He might take a 4-year deal. Which is cool. Like I love that Matthews wants to, and he wants to take a short-term deal anyway, it sounds like, which is awesome because that's what we need. Because that's fun. Him hitting free agency twice in his prime is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. It makes so man, the Leafs also don't have very many picks, eh? Wow. Like outside of the Boston pick, they don't have another pick till round 5, and they only have 5 and 6.
Oh wow.
Oof. Even next year, they don't have their second and third, and they don't have their first, second, and fourth the year after that. But like that, they have enough prospects. Like I'm not that worried about that. Like Kyle Dubas has done a good job like filling the cabinet.
Yeah.
I love the Scheifele and Hellebuck deal. I think it fits for both teams.
I don't hate it. I'll say that.
It's fun. Like aside from the fact that Marner doesn't really fit the age gap that the Jets should be targeting. Like worst case scenario, right? Like he's 26. You play him for the next year and a half, and then you eat $5 million and you flip him at the deadline when he's
Yeah.
28, and you get more. You probably get just as much as you would for Scheifele and probably almost as much as you probably would anyway. Because like a Mitch Marner at 28 for $5 million, like somebody's going to pay you multiple picks, right? Like that's crazy. Or you're good. Like that's another option.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it. Anyway, Leafs first to like second in this division.
First or second, yeah, they're not finishing lower than that.
They're not finishing lower than that, unless like Brad. And I mean, that's the other thing too is Brad Living is the GM. This is the guy that just traded Brady or Matthew Tkachuk for like a ton of stuff last summer. Like
Right.
he's the guy to make a big deal like Mitch Marner. Which is why I'm not taking Matthews off the table. I think there's a world where Austin Matthews gets traded this summer. Like especially if Matthews says that he's not going to re-sign, then yes, I think Brad's not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
Losing his American franchise player for agency, I think he's kind of done with that.
You can argue he lost 2. Oh no.
Yeah, well, I mean, he traded.
Kachuk.
Yeah. I mean, Kachuk said he wasn't going to resign, and he was an RFA, so that's same thing. So I mean, like, if there's a guy who's going to do it, like as much as I don't like the Brad Living hire, I think he's going to do something crazy this summer. This has to be the year they move one of the core 4.
Yeah.
It has to be, and it's not going to be. I mean, well, I'm not counting Riley in that anyway, but Morgan Riley is like not moving. He also has a no move clause, so that is the one problem with my thing though, is that Mitch Marner has a full no move clause, and I don't know if he waives it to go to Winnipeg.
I wouldn't waive it to go to Winnipeg.
I probably wouldn't waive it to go to Winnipeg even if they were good right now, because the Leafs are probably better. And he's friends with Matthews. That's the one thing that's stopping a Marner trade, and it's the same thing that's stopping a Tavares trade, and the same thing that's stopping a Austin Matthews trade. So that's the problem. But let's say he waives. Let's say he's fine. He loves the cold, freezing temperatures, and there's nothing to do. Kind of city. I think hockey-wise, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I can agree.
So there we go. That is the Atlantic Division. The Pacific is left. We don't know what that episode's going to look like. It will be out at some point before the draft. I probably won't be on it. I know, sad. Everybody cry. Unless we can figure it out, but I'm going to be in a hotel room for the next, 8 days. So it's going to be kind of hard to figure that out. But we might have a special guest. Brody might just do it by himself. We don't know. Maybe I'll be on it.
We'll see.
We'll see. But it will be out before the draft. That is the thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It will be.
Anyway, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at BroalieTalksHockey. Yeah, that's pretty much where I lay most of the day.
Fair enough. Yeah, and you can find me at NBI Hockey on Instagram, Twitter sometimes. Follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Full videos on YouTube. Make sure to rate us on Apple and Spotify. I don't know if you can rate on Spotify. Make sure you rate us on Apple because that helps. And we'll see you guys later. And watch the draft. You might see me on TV.